Today, folks, we're going to learn how to make the most scrumptious, moist, rich Italian cream cake ever with delicious coconut and pecans, and it's so moist and tender and delicious, y'all. And this icing, whew, here's how.
For this deliciously rich cake, it takes a little bit more complex ingredients, but you can do this. It's not hard. Just get all the ingredients out before you begin. That's 1 stick of butter, which is a 1/2 cup of, I use unsalted butter. You can use salted. 1/4 cup of vegetable oil, 1/4 cup of Crisco shortening. Each of these has different properties that it brings to the table. I like using all 3 of them. If you'd rather just use 2, you could just use a 1/2 cup of Crisco and 1 stick of butter. But this adds some moisture and makes the cake, gives you a little insurance. Then we'll have the sugar, which is 2 cups of granulated sugar, 5 egg yolks separated. I'll show you what we're going to do with the whites. 2 cups of self-rising flour. Please make sure you weigh this out or either fluff it gently into the measuring device. You do not want a heavy cake with way too much flour in it. I suggest you get a scale, and this would be 240 grams of self-rising flour. And to that, we're going to add 1 teaspoon of baking soda. So I'm going to sift this in just a minute. Then we're going to go over what we have in here. You can either use 1 cup of buttermilk, but my favorite is to use a 1/2 cup of buttermilk and a 1/2 cup of heavy whipping cream. Again, it adds moisture and richness. Then we're going to put in 1 teaspoon of my very favorite Madagascar bourbon vanilla. You use what you like. Just please don't use artificial flavoring. This is a 1.5 cups of Angel Flake coconut, or just any sweetened coconut. 1.5 cups, lightly, not packed. And this is a cup of chopped pecans or pecans. And here we have the 5 egg whites from those egg yolks, and they're beaten stiff. We're going to fold those in at the end.
Let's put it together. First, start by creaming the shortening and the butter. Then slowly add your oil in, incorporate it, and mix it until it's creamy. Then we're going to pour in your sugar and each egg yolk separately. And once you get them all in, beat them for about 30 seconds. Scrape down the sides and don't forget the beater. Then we're going to add our vanilla and cream that in as well. And it's time to start with sifting our flour. And make sure you sift it all the way through and discard any little bits at the end. We're going to start out with a little bit of flour. I usually do it in thirds, 1/3 of flour, 1/3 of the milk mixture, then another 1/3 of the flour, 1/3 of the milk mixture, and you just want to incorporate it. Please do not beat too much. We don't want a tough cake. So just until it comes together. Then we're going to add the rest of everything and slowly again incorporate. And we're going to take our time and we're going to scrape down the beater and scrape down the sides and blend it one more time, about 30 seconds. Let's add our coconut at that point and our pecans or pecans, whichever you prefer to say it. And we're just going to mix those in slowly. And I just kind of pulse anytime I'm adding any kind of dry ingredients so they don't fly out of the mixer. You don't want a facial with flour or powdered sugar. So let's scrape down one more time, and it's time to add the egg whites. Now don't be afraid. We're going to add about half the egg whites first and fold it in from top to bottom. See how I'm making that folding motion? Then I'm going to turn the pan, or actually the bowl, sorry. But you keep folding until it lightens up. It comes from a heavy mixture, and you can tell how it's lightening up, and you don't want to push them down or crush them, but you do want them mixed in. So I added the rest of them, and I'm doing the same thing. And look how much lighter the batter is compared to where we started. Use my cake release, y'all, on this, and divide into 3 pans. And we're going to bake this at 325, and I'm going to check it in 22 minutes, but this actually baked for 25 minutes. Cool in the pans for about 5 minutes, and then run a flat edge around the sides. I use that little nonstick plastic knife thing, or you can use like a mini spatula. Here I'm showing you how to use that, but since you use that cake release so liberally, your bottoms come out great, because coconut will stick to the bottom, and raisins will too. Let's make the icing. 1.5 blocks of softened cream cheese, 1 stick of softened butter, and 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract. We're going to cream that probably about 2 or 3 minutes. Then we're going to scrape down the beater in the sides again, and we're going to add 1 pound of the powdered sugar and 1/4 cup of the heavy whipping cream. And we're going to pulse. That is my message to you, y'all. You don't want to end up with a snowstorm of confectioner's sugar. Pulse the mixture until looks like it's coming together, and then you can go a little faster. And once it's creamy, you go ahead and go fast. And then we're going to scrape it down again and add the rest of the powdered sugar and do the same thing again. When you stop beating, it should be very stiff and hold a shape and be very spreadable. And you're going to want to ice your layers in between evenly and stack them evenly. Totally cover with that delicious cream cheese icing, and use chopped pecans to decorate on the outside any way you choose. This is a showstopper, y'all. You'll love it. Thank you so much for watching. Love y'all. Please subscribe. Thanks.